Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome back to all of the folks who have been continuing to stand up for the cause of keeping hands off of DC. I see you and I recognize you. To jump right back in it, Washington, DC has not had a single modern instance of voter fraud. The Republicans' own Heritage Foundation election fraud cases database lists 0 instances of voter fraud in DC since 1979. 3 DC-based hearings in, and I can only think of one reason why we are here yet again to give and conduct all of this oversight on this one mid-sized city that doesn't have a state or any representation. We're not seeing this oversight over conservative areas. We're not seeing this oversight over majority white areas or white states. So it must be that DC has over 45% of black folks with a very suppressible vote, because that's the real goal here, to disenfranchise black and brown voters. Republicans know that when people are able to vote freely and without odd constraints, like too long lines in places that they cannot access, or rules that suppress their ability to access the ballot and to vote. When they can vote, they don't win elections. So they make it as difficult as possible and outright deny the right to many Americans. And the disenfranchised isn't just limited to continental United States. Ms. Weiser, are the people residing in the U.S. territories, such as Puerto Rico or Guam or the U.S. Virgin Islands, able to vote for the president?
I believe they are.
Those same people are United States citizens, correct?
That is correct.
Millions of residents of the 5 U.S. territories, 98% of whom are people of color, are denied full voting rights, despite paying nearly $4 billion in federal taxes and having a population equivalent to that of the 5 smallest U.S. states combined. We're perpetuating a system of colonialism and paternalism. These folks do not have full voting rights in Congress or the Senate. Earlier this year, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell took to the floor of the Senate and said that, quote, "It's about time the federal government provides some adult supervision for DC." Let me just say, the folks who are duly elected to represent the city of DC are not children. The voters, the folks of voting age, they're not children. The last 2 hearings on DC were entitled overdue oversight of the capital city. They're not even trying to play down the dog whistles anymore. I was going to ask some semi-rhetorical questions to Ms. Evans to highlight the absurdity of this 3rd DC hearing on disenfranchisement. I'll answer them myself, though. I was going to ask about the 535 voting members of Congress, how many of those members did DC get to vote for? The answer was 0. I was then going to ask, of those 535 voting members of Congress, do any of them know more about or care more about DC and its nearly 700,000 residents than DC's locally elected officials? This is, of course, conjecture, but I think you would probably say that these 535 of my colleagues do not know or care more about the day in and day out needs or desires of the people of DC. My Republican colleagues seem to subscribe to this belief that DC residents are incapable of self-government, and that DC residents need members of Congress from faraway places to regulate their conduct. It's beyond offensive, and it's un-American.